What's up, everybody? Welcome back for a new episode. Tonight, we're going to talk about affordability for healthcare and accessibility for healthcare. My guest tonight is board certified emergency physician with over 21 years of experience. She is an entrepreneur, speaker, mom of four, wife, and a HBCU graduate from Fort Valley State University, where she pledged Delta Sigma Theta. She is passionate about showing others how to live fully and strive to show others that there is joy in the journey of life. She is a speaker, a mentor to pre-medical students and others. She's also served as a member of the Inclusion, Diversity, Empowerment, and Action Council for Woodland Fields. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hand together. Stand up if you are sitting down. Let's welcome Dr. Tracy Dotson. Doc, how you doing? Thank you so much
Oh,
for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
it is
You see,
my
they said I didn't give you the applause. I got to give you the applause. Thank you so much for being here, Doc. It's a pleasure to have you on my platform for us to
great.
have a discussion. And I know you're busy. I know it's very hard to get people to come and talk to us, and I'm very grateful for you to do so. So tonight we're going to have a conversation. I'm going to let you introduce yourself to the audience and tell them who you are and what you do, and then we jump in to the conversation.
Absolutely. Great evening. It is such a blessing and an honor to be here with you, Johnny. Thank you for having me. As he noted, I'm Dr. Trissay Dotson. I hail originally from Detroit. I'm in Orlando now. I have been an emergency room physician on the front line with critical and non critical patients for 21 years and counting.
Wow.
And it is my great joy and honor to serve in space, to actively work to, prolong life and support others in their journeys in all aspects. I've been at Guidewell now a little over a year, and it has been life changing for me. And I love to bring the information forward to others so that it can impact their lives as well.
Thank you, Doc. I appreciate that. Doc, I'm going to jump in right there. Like in our community, when we're talking about healthcare, and there's a lot of conversation. They're not taboo, but that a lot of information was not reaching to to us, it's not coming to us,
Sure.
and sometimes we don't have those information. They're there. There's plenty of resources out there, and it's difficult to see it. And I see you
Mhm.
talk about mentorship. Before we get in this main subject, you are a mentor for pre-medical student. How's that going? What's the process for that? How do you do those things? All of those things.
It's a blessing. You most know that there's actually less than 3% Black female physicians in the United States. And I'm so honored to be able to bring forth that we belong here, that we have a presence. And a part of our duty is to be able to advance learning for medical students, nurses, physician assistants, and all those in the medical field. So, as a mentor, I actively, as I've done with GuideWell, I bring medical students with me and
Mm.
teach them the process of how to do what we do in medicine to advance their lives.
Hmm. Outstanding, outstanding. Now, do you ever have like a chance to work with foreign medical students?
I do actually. Yeah, I'm not sure I can hear the background, but one of
Yeah.
my students came over from Brazil and she rotated with me last year. And she's now actively doing her residency in New York. And I was the only international rotation that she had. So it wasn't me, it was totally
Hmm.
God. But I am grateful that I was able to have an impact to help her grow and to navigate the system to be able to come and study here in the United States.
Nice, nice, nice. I know a lot of foreign doctors, so that's why I asked because it's sometimes very, very complicated for those foreign doctors.
Absolutely. You're right.
And that's the reason why I asked these questions. So that tell us about Gadwell. So you mentioned that right now you're talking about Gadwell. I know it's a concept was different that most people is not aware of it. Okay, tell us about it. What is Gadwell? How do they function?
So I love to say that GuideWell is
I should say I don't want to confuse the people. Gadwell
sure.
emergency doctors.
Yes.
Go ahead. Hmm.
Yes, I refer to GuideWell emergency doctors as an answer. And
Mhm.
for many, it is the answer. We literally do emergency center care, emergency level care. We are all board certified emergency medicine physicians, all of 5 years or more experience. All of our nurses have a minimum of 3 years emergency care experience. And so when you think emergency care comparative to, kind of a basic urgent care or, family practice office or some of
Mhm.
the offices, there's some extra levels of things that we do. We have an on site lab, so you literally get your lab results within an hour. We have diagnostic imaging directly at our
Mhm.
center. So that's what separates us from kind of a basic urgent care. We have CT, we have ultrasound, we have x rays, and the capacity to actively diagnose appendicitis, congestive heart failure, pulmonary edema, gallbladder disease directly in real time. You can't do that in average urgent care, and
Now,
you don't get the emergency.
before I already see some questions coming in. What
Yes.
do you mean an average urgent care?
So when you think urgent care, you think quick things and certainly not critical events
Mhm.
where perhaps, like we do ankle sprains,
Yeah.
lacerations, but we also can reduce shoulder joints and
Mhm.
dislocations. We can diagnose appendicitis and active infections. And most of those things, higher level acuity care, will be sent from an urgent care to an emergency room. And then
Mhm.
they'll incur the cost of the emergency room fee and the hospital fee. You don't have that with GuideWell emergency doctors.
Okay. Okay. So when somebody, for example, have like I wake up this morning, I'm not feeling well, and maybe I have an abdominal pain for some reason, but I don't want to go to an urgent care because I said okay, if I go there, maybe they're gonna send me to a hospital, or maybe they can send me back somewhere else. So if I come to you at Gadwell Emergency Doctors, what's the difference? What sets you apart if I come to you instead of going to the urgent
Great question. And what sets us apart is that we can do it all right there. So
care?
you will actively be assessed by a board certified emergency room physician with critical care experience for any level of illness that you may be experiencing. If it's critical, we can actively diagnose you in real time at our facility, and rather than send you to a local ER, as needed, we could actually get you directly admitted to the hospital. Urgent cares can't do that. We can also set up outpatient appointments directly with a specialist, for you, directly connected to your insurance, which is another big time saver and also saves a lot of the discomfort of not knowing where to go. We're your what's next.
Mhm. Now, I like that you say all board certified physicians. So the providers that you have, those are providers who usually work in regular trauma cases, emergency rooms. So there's no difference. May you go to
There,
an ER, or may
absolutely.
you go to you guys at Gadwell Emergency Doctors. There is no difference because you're receiving the same level of care. Now
Absolutely.
let's talk about patient experience. Now when you go to the ER, you usually like and the big hallway, they would just, wherever they can find a spot, they just put you there. And how is the patient experience when we're talking about Gadwell Emergency Doctors?
You know, I I personally love it. There's excitement in being able to give a quality experience and knowing from the time that someone hits the door to the
Mm-hmm.
time that they actively leave that they're being cared for. So once you literally come into the waiting room, you are not only met with a smile and with consideration for whatever your need may be. Every single patient is walked back to their room by a patient service rep. You're then attended to by a nursing or staff, a physician or a nurse practitioner or a physician assistant. We're checked on during the time frame that you're actively in our facility, and even at the closing. So after imaging, after having a CAT scan, after getting an X-ray, after your active treatment, and your lab work, which is done at our on-site lab right on the premises. After at the conclusion of your workup, we get to make appointments for you to follow up to your next step as needed, or we welcome you back for your reevaluation, for example, with an abscess or even diverticulitis, which we diagnose on site. And then you're literally walked back out with the patient service rep until you're basically discharged from the facility. So you are cared for from beginning to the end.
Hmm. I like that because like what happened if I need, let's say I had an injury, a fracture, and I need to see an orthopedic doctor. Usually when I go in the ER and I need to, they say, okay, you got a fracture, you need to call your insurance and figure out the closest referral for the specialist or whatever, any type of specialist. So what do you guys do in this condition?
This is a huge, huge bonus for Guidewell emergency doctors. We have literally our center, our CEC, who makes appointments for our patients. And
Mm,
sometimes things like a gastroenterologist, like GI doctor, a general surgeon, dermatologist, gynecologist,
mm,
all the specialties, we work with your insurance and we work with you to set appointments for you so that you don't have to worry about what's next. That was one of the tough things for me, actively practicing in the ER for as many years as I did. I love on people. It's my nature, it's my gift from God. And when you love on a patient and you give them your best and then you discharge them and they don't have the capacity to get good follow up, you feel as if you're only doing half your job.
hmm. Yeah,
And Guidewell
exactly.
Emergency Doctors allows us to bridge that gap and we give them the what's next.
Okay. Sometimes, like I know, especially in my community, sometimes we have people who do not, even though they have insurance, they have full insurance, they have everything, but they don't have a primary care doctor, for example. And they will
Yes.
have an emergency. And now, yes, you take care of the emergency, but afterwards they need to follow up with the primary care doctor or something like that. What happened if this pay if you have you ever encountered a patient who doesn't have a primary care doctor? How do you guys handle that for those patients?
So that's a wonderful aspect. I actually look forward to it. I get excited about it. It was one of the things when I learned about Guidewell Emergency
Mm-hmm.
Doctors that really like gave me joy. You don't leave without having follow up if it's needed.
Hmm.
So we will set you up, and I actually put in an order, if you will, for to establish a primary care physician. So if you don't have one and you come to us for whatever the need may be, we're able to set an appointment for you and set referrals for you. So you leave knowing that you have a plan, and we're always there. So we're 9 to 7 Monday through
Mm-hmm.
Friday, 9 to 4 Saturdays and Sundays, and most holidays. But we're always there to take care of you.
See, I like that. I like that you able to come and you able to find, and then the hours are not too bad, 9 to 7. I mean, that's
Yes.
that's actually outstanding because I can get seen before work and then get out. Because sometimes when like if I get sick, I go to the emergency room. I can be there for a long time. I can be there for
Mhm.
4, 5, sometimes 8 hours,
Yes, sir.
but be able to go some places. There's somebody under the live right now who asks us what again, if you're listening to the podcast or watching the podcast is being recorded live. So I already see a question that say, what about affordability? They're talking about how can they afford it? Is it more expensive than the emergency room?
Oh,
Is it less expensive than the emergency room? Are we able
it
to,
is.
to address that?
It is significantly less expensive,
Mm-hmm.
which is wonderful. What I love is that when you walk into all of our Guidewell Emergency Doctors facilities, the transparent cost is literally on the wall in the waiting room.
Mm-hmm.
So you actively get to see not only what you're getting, but what the charges are in real time. There's no hidden. It's full transparency. You get what you need and you don't get things that you don't need. That's the beauty of it. Um,
Exactly.
you get so ERs, we're a third of the cost of what an average ER would cost you. As I mentioned, as Johnny knows,
Hmm.
I'm blessed to be here right now. I was in a rollover motor vehicle crash
Hmm.
1 week ago today. We were actually going to be doing this live,
I
and
know,
I
right? I
to
remember.
message Johnny from the ER as someone hit myself and my son and caused us to roll on the side of the road, and we landed with me down on the ground on the passenger side and him up in the air suspended. And because of the nature of the critical emergency, we were taken to an ER, which is not inappropriate. But I will tell you that it was significantly greater cost
Hmm.
than I would have paid were I able to get to Guidewell Emergency Doctors.
Wow, amazing. I'm glad you're okay, Doc. That you are, I'm very happy
God,
you're okay.
it's so good.
You know. Now, what about locations? Location, are you guys all over United States? Where can they find you guys when we're talking about? Because a lot of people say it sound good, but where do they find you?
Absolutely. So here's the blessing, guys. We're in your community. This is the gift. So our Metro Orlando locations
Hmm.
are Cimarron, it's Kissimmee, Winter Park, and Ocoee. So those are our four Metro Orlando locations. We also have West Tampa, and we also have, as I'm looking at you here,
Yes, you got University area in Tampa.
yes,
Yeah, you
yes,
everywhere in Tampa. Oh my God, you got
yes,
what? Is that
yes,
four or five location in Tampa?
absolutely,
St. Petersburg. Hey, while you're at the beach, you never know if you have an emergency.
absolutely.
Right there, especially. No, you laughing, but that see, especially like in the summer. Summer is coming, and you know you go to the
Yes,
beach and you have a quick emergency and you have to get something taken care of. This is probably one of the great locations. And in Orlando,
absolutely.
you have Samoan, um, it's Ocoee and Winter Park. So
Yes.
that's pretty good. I think for the person who asked that questions, yeah, those are the location. Um, if you're in the other state, we don't. I don't think we have any other location in the other states.
Not as of yet, but we'll
Yes,
be working on it.
you're working. You're
As I
working on
understand.
it. Okay. Yes, but yeah. So those are the location. And while we're here too, you mentioning the services as well. So if you go
Yes,
on the website, which is guidewellemergency .com, and
yes.
you can actually click on the services, and he'll
Mhm.
give you a list of everything that is provided. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so
For
everything that is
migraines, for
yeah.
abdominal pain, ankle fractures, as you mentioned, summer's coming, and we are more active, most of us, right? And
Yes.
so if you're doing an ankle fracture, if you're doing an ankle sprain, if you've got a shoulder dislocation, if you suffer a laceration or, God forbid, a burn
Hmm.
or heat-related illnesses, right? Sometimes we get out there and we're weekend warriors and we get some muscle cramps and dehydration, and some people faint. We
Hmm.
can assess it all.
Nice, nice. I like that. There is. Let me see. I need to bring something back right here that I saw. Was very interesting. Specialty care. So you mentioned specialty care.
Yes.
Um, Question: are you just walking only or appointments?
We're
Or
both. We're both.
so I can actually call and book an appointment at the same time. I don't need an appointment. I can also walk in, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
And our average wait time is about 2.5 to 5 minutes
Hmm.
for with appointments, with walking in and being assessed and actually starting to talk to a patient rep.
Exactly. There's a things I need to mention. When you go to an emergency room, there's that the wait time that up front, that long wait time that while the while the professionals doing what they're doing in the back, but you as the patient, the time is it's long. And you mentioned that it might be you get there quick. So may you have an appointment or you walk in, the wait time for you to see a provider seem to be drastically very low because
Absolutely.
the time like when I'm in an ER and I'm sitting up front and I'm hurting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting, you keep checking your clock, you keep
Hmm.
checking your time, and it seems like you're there forever. But you mentioned for you the wait time is completely significantly lower than any
Significantly.
other places. Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Man.
You know, and some of the models of the emergency rooms now, due to multiple reasons,
Mm-hmm.
is that now physicians are going out into the waiting rooms to
Mm.
assess patients in several emergency departments because they're just inundated. And so the care is, um, it's a little different than what we were all trained to do, right, 25 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of actively coming into, like, comparative to us, you're in a room with a television, in your own private room, and you're assessed within minutes, of, arriving to our facility. Now, we take emergencies, so sometimes things happen because
Mm-hmm.
we are going to take care of critical needs because that's what we're meant to do. But you'll never wait as long as you've waited for the average emergency department.
Okay. Um, let's talk about lab and imaging services. Are those
Yes.
included in the cost? Because
So
like
we
when you go to the ER, you get the bill for the ER. Then I have a bill for radiology. Then I have a bill sometimes for lab or this specialist or that specialist. So in this case, lab and imaging, are those already included in the cost?
Yes. So every case, and again, because it's transparent
Mm-hmm.
costs, you will know before things are done what the cost will be. All right. We have different levels. We have three levels: level one, two, and three. Level one is like an ankle sprain, is like upper respiratory infection, flu, that sort of a thing, where you're getting the diagnostic
Mm-hmm.
test, um, treating your fever as needed. It can include a basic x-ray of your
Mm-hmm.
chest. That can be a level one. And again, it's different variations. And then level two is going to be higher acuity. And level three is like for the patients who've had critical irregular heartbeats, atrial fibrillation, which is an irregular rhythm that can lead to stroke. We're able to treat and, in most cases, convert the irregular heartbeat, and patients are safely allowed to go home with specialty set up with a cardiologist.
Hmm.
Now, that's, a higher level, but we've actively converted the heart,
Hmm.
which
That's
in
nice.
our facility without having to be in an ER.
Hmm. That's very nice. Now I know I say I would take a Q&A portion, but those questions are keep popping up. I want to give us an opportunity to answer
Sure.
those questions for the people who's already
My
here, who's
honor.
present in the life. Let's give them that comment courtesy and to do so.
Absolutely.
Hold on a second. Let me bring this question to the. Where is it? That I saw your question, people. I'm gonna bring your question to yeah. Okay, so let's say. All right. So the question was, well, let me remove this then because he refused to give it to me. And see, that's the beauty of life. He refused
Oh,
to
it's
give it to
okay.
me the way I want it.
You're
But we
flexible.
got the technology. We'll adjust it for him and make it the way that way you can see it. Okay, here we go. So we have a questions for you right here from people. People say, what makes you the best? The best choice. Sorry, what makes you the best choice?
That's a wonderful question because we're actively present. As emergency room physicians, our whole, I should speak for self,
Mm-hmm.
you know, my whole goal is to actively make a difference as best I can for the advancement of your care, for your livelihood, for you to have quality care, for you to not only be treated, but to feel that you matter in real time in your space. Um, for those of us who've chosen to do the Guide Well model, we
Mm-hmm.
wanted more one on one care with our patients. We wanted to actively be able to have more time with you to address your concerns. What makes us the best choice is that we're half of the amount of time of an average emergency room.
Mm-hmm.
We're a third of the cost of an average emergency room. However, you still get the expertise of an emergency room physician who's been doing critical care, in my case, for over 20 years.
Hmm.
So, best choice because you don't lose. You get your needs met in real time. You get your answers. You leave with your labs in your hand, and you leave with your discs of your CAT scan, of your ultrasound, of your x ray, and get a referral and appointment set with a specialist prior to leaving. Well, I shouldn't say prior to leave. It takes a little
Mhm.
time because we
Mhm.
have to make phone calls for you. But we cut that angst of not knowing where you're going to go next. You
Hmm.
leave with a plan in hand.
What happened if I need to be admitted? That's a
If
good
you,
question. If I need to be admitted, can you
yes,
admit me to the hospital?
I can. So we can admit you to the hospital. So if you're at some emergency rooms, they're contracted just with their own hospital system. For us, wherever it is that you choose to go, we will work. It doesn't happen in all cases. However, we are able, we're not bound to one hospital system. We're able to work with the hospital system that your insurance does cover to get you a direct admission, unless critical. If you're critical, right,
Mhm.
we have to meet you where you are and get you to the next phase emergently. But I've admitted appendicitis, congestive heart failure, cellulitis, ectopic pregnancy, because we're able to diagnose those things in real time at our facility, again, at a third of the cost.
Hmm. I like that part because you know I want them to understand because I have the experience. Okay, when you sick and you go to an urgent care, you might be able to get an X-ray. Okay, a lot
Mhm.
of them have X-ray capability, but if you need a, let's say I was just having a headache because my blood pressure was high. You could,
Yes,
and the physician want to make sure that I'm not actively having a stroke because of my symptoms. If I'm in that
absolutely.
urgent care, they have to send me somewhere else because they don't have the capability to do so.
Mhm.
But
Yes.
with you guys, you able to diagnose that or at least rule out that there's not something more than what it is,
Mhm.
and if it is, to be able to still transfer me to the
Absolutely.
hospital to get the highest level of care at the same times. And I think that answered that question. That's for me, that's a big difference, because for the regular folks, we I don't think we understand the separation between facilities when we're talking about emergency care. Yes, you have
Yes.
the ER, then you have urgent care, then you have your model, which is like a crossover between urgent care.
Bridge.
Yeah,
Yes.
like a
A
bridge
great
between
bridge.
urgent care. Yeah, a big bridge, and between urgent care and then ER. But at the same time, be able to, if my insurance cover any hospital, be able to transfer, or if I get admitted to the hospital of my choice, maybe I want to
Yes.
go to the one closer to my house, you know. So
Absolutely.
be able to do that. I think that's a big difference. That a lot of us, when we sick or when we have an emergency, we don't really have those choices, not because they don't want to, but because
Mhm.
they cannot facilitate it. But being able to
Absolutely.
do that, that's outstanding. Let me make sure that I don't have any other questions over
Sure.
here for
And
you
while
guys.
you pull that up,
Mhm.
I'll mention, you know, yes, we accept most insurances, but we also do self pay.
Oh, tell us a little bit about self pay, because I got a lot of people who don't have insurance. What do you mean by self pay?
So for and I'm going to do the base. Every situation's different,
Hmm.
but the base pay, at our lowest tier, we talked about the fact that we have three different levels. Our level one is $199. And in that, I'm just going to mention some of the things that are there just because it just gives you an idea of, oh, I could, for $199, I could get all of this taken care of, be seen quickly, get a follow up appointment, get my workup done, and leave knowing what's happening with me. So things like, laceration repairs, strains and muscle aches, headaches, sore throat, strep throat. Those things are done in real time. You can do a mononucleosis test, strep test in real time, blood glucose. We deal with a lot of, instances of elevated high blood pressure or elevated blood sugar levels. It's a great model to meet you where you are
Hmm.
and to get you to your next step. so that you don't have to be wondering how to take care of yourself.
So basically, this is emergency care at urgent care rates.
It's absolutely
It's
emergency care at
emergency
urgent
care at
care rate.
urgent care rates. That's like, I mean, you can't beat it. You can't beat it. Um, listen, it's and there's a reason it's not that many, because that's a model was very different than
Yes,
every model we see out there. So I thought I
absolutely.
just saw a question for you, and let me just review it really quick and see
Sure.
if I can bring it up.
I'm loving the
Okay.
questions, guys. Thank
Yes,
you.
I know. They asked you a lot of question.
That's wonderful. My grandmother said it's how you get informed.
So somebody mentioned they mentioned standalone ER. They're
Yes.
asking, is it a standalone ER, or what is the difference between us and a standalone ER?
So a standalone ER, and as some people refer to them as freestanding ER,
Hmm.
it's still affiliated with the hospital. And so you're still charged the rates of a hospital. So even though it's not
Oh.
connected, you're still charged the full emergency room cost.
Mm.
So standalone ERs basically operate as freestanding emergency rooms. At Guidewell Emergency Doctors, we have the capacity to operate as a freestanding emergency room. However, it's the urgent care fee.
Hmm.
So it's a third of the cost. And still, some of the freestandings kind of fast. However, we're
Yeah.
still faster in seeing you.
Nice, nice, man. I one of the great benefits is it's to our community. I like the support. I like the fact that you guys pick your location based where the community is, and being
Yes,
able to offer, I mean, high emergency care, okay, at an affordable rate. And that's
absolutely.
the point I'm trying to, like, I know for my community, that's the point I'm trying to help them realize, because we have access to those things,
Mhm.
but sometimes we don't know they exist. And that's
Exactly.
what I'm happy that you took the time to come here and talk to us and answer all of those questions, and let people know, hey, yes, I mean, if there's a place you can go if
Mhm.
you're not feeling well, is an
Yes.
emergency, you have an emergency, and they will take care of you, same level of care as an emergency room, with the urgent care rates, where you don't have to worry so much. And I like the fact that you say, may you have insurance, you don't have insurance, is there. The
Mhm.
price are in the wall, or it's not, oh, I thought it was this, or I thought it was
Mhm.
not that. So
Not
all
hidden.
of those is there for you, transparent, and be able to know what's going on. Now, one aspect also, Doc, I want to mention,
Mhm.
uh, our community is diverse. So what about those who don't speak English very well? What kind of and if they want to sing, do we have things in place to help
Yes.
those patients who doesn't speak English very well?
And I was going to say, so I love this part. So, for those of you who've ever been in an ER,
Hmm.
typically as an emergency room doctor, I don't get to follow up with you. I don't get to see you a second time or check on you or know how you're doing after. Um, you get to come back as needed to GuideWell. I get to follow up with you. So I've had some critical emergent patients that we sent for emergent surgery
Hmm.
who's who did very well by grace, and then I got
Hmm.
to see them in follow up and build that connection.
Hmm.
In terms of being able to meet you in your space, in your level of communication, we have an interpreter service.
Hmm.
So in real time, we have our iPads, and we can literally bring an interpreter on in video for any language, including sign language.
Hmm. That's very important. Very, very important, because sometimes that's one of the worries that people have. Will
Sure,
I have the services? If I go there, will I have somebody who will translate for me or give me that information? So here we
absolutely.
go. Thank you
And
for answering that.
and families can also come. So we encourage. So if some of our instances, if grandmama, is,
Mm,
doesn't speak English, however her granddaughter can interpret for her, we welcome it.
mm. Good, 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 good. Yeah, some places very strict about that. They almost don't. It's almost like after COVID, they almost do not want family member coming at all in that room with you. The fact that you encourage, I know for my community, we're very, very family oriented. Hey,
Yes.
if grandma is sick, ever, we're coming. we,
Right?
yeah,
You
we're
know,
coming.
and and I actually tell my families, you're going to know your family member best. I'm armed with the critical experience, but you will be able to tell me the story about how grandma was acting yesterday compared to a big change today. I need your story so that I
Hmm.
can help serve her the best.
Hmm. Exactly. All right. So let me see. I keep you here for a good 43 minutes already, Doc. So I know you got, yeah, but I want to make sure I got everything covered. Hey, guys, if you're under the live, please go ahead and ask your questions. This is a rare opportunity for you to have somebody to come directly from a facility to answer the questions that you might have, those questions you don't know about. So please, thank you for those of you who already asked those questions. But if you have a question, please ask it because most likely somebody else has the same question you have. Okay,
Absolutely.
to be able, and that's why I love doing this podcast live because you can get your answers right there. Okay.
Yes.
When we put the podcast after that, you just can listen to it, and you maybe you can send me a message, and then I can reply to your message. But to be able to have the subject matter expert right here with us, over 21 years of experience sitting here with you, this is your opportunity to ask those questions. Okay, so if you don't ask those questions, hey, I don't know when you're gonna get the other chance to ask those questions. Now let's talk about the time again. You say you open from Monday to Friday,
Yes.
9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Okay. And then on Saturday, you open from 9 to 4 p.m. Okay. And
And
closing certain holidays, but most holidays you are open still because a
yes.
lot of facility close on the holidays, but most holidays you are open in, what, to 4 o'clock, right? So that still
Yes.
give you a full day to see patient and be able to take care of them at the same time. We
Absolutely.
also want to mention the location for those of
Mhm.
you who join us late. So let me bring the location again on the live so you can get a chance to see it. If you are in Central Florida, if you are in Orlando, you can reach them at Warner Park if you live in that area,
Mhm.
Ocoee if you live in that area, and of course Samoan Boulevard. If you're in
Yes. And
Tampa,
Kissimmee.
and
Mhm.
Kissimmee, here
And
we go.
Kissimmee.
Yeah, if you're in Kissimmee, right there, you'll find them as well. Now, if you're in Tampa, they have a West Tampa location. They have a location at University area and Fletcher Avenue. Okay,
Mhm.
if you're in Largo, they have a location in Largo and Missouri Avenue. They also have a location in North Tampa. Okay, and they have one in St. Petersburg. That's the location I love because I can go to the beach and just
Yeah.
go right and get seen. Okay, just in case, you know. So I love the St. Petersburg area. So those are the locations. And you mentioned that if you want to be specific, you can book an appointment,
Yes.
but the appointment is not necessary. If you want to walk in, you can walk in at the same time. So, guys,
Absolutely.
this is the opportunity for you to ask questions. Those services are available. Now, there is a question about insurance. What type of insurance is covered?
So you have two options.
Mm-hmm,
They will, and as I say, they are
mm-hmm,
our patient reps
mm-hmm,
literally meet you at the door. So, or
mm-hmm,
meet you at the desk. You walk right in the door, and they will go through with you. Most, as I understand it, most commercial insurances are accepted.
mm-hmm.
However, you are allowed to do self pay. And
Okay.
so, as you see right here on the video, literally when you walk right in,
Mm-hmm,
you'll meet one of those patient services reps, and they will talk right with you. Now, you can also go directly online at guywellemergencydoctors.com, and you can also call in and they can talk to you about your insurance needs at the same time that you're booking your appointment.
okay, I like
You
that
know,
part. So I can have insurance, and I decide I don't want to use my insurance and do self
yes,
pay. Okay,
absolutely.
you're about to
Absolutely.
mention something.
Oh, I we all understand, just like with social media and other things in our lives, right? What people say about a thing matters.
Hmm.
That is how that's how we exist. Is word of mouth, right? Is
Hmm.
huge. I love that we have high patient satisfaction scores.
Mm.
It it goes to the goal of actively meeting people in their space and helping them heal and meet their needs. And so we have high level scorings. It's called an NPS score.
Hmm.
You're able to, check it out. But what we found in the highest, patient comments is that they people appreciate that they were looked after from the time they entered. They appreciate that they get copies of their labs, copies of their blood work, and that as physicians and nurse practitioners and physician assistants, we sit with them and go over their results and answer questions so that they leave, the most cognizant of what's happening with them and that they get their next phase of having a follow up appointment. That's huge.
That is huge, especially especially when you go to the doctor sometimes or
Mhm.
emergency room. Sometimes it take a while to get your result. So
Yes,
you're telling me like I somebody who came in, they can get if they have lab work done, imaging services done, they will leave the facility with
in hand.
in hands with their result in hand.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. listen, listen, man. I'm telling you guys, this is why we have this to bring you those kind of information. If you ever been to the doctor, you know sometimes it take 24 hours. I don't care if you go to the ER or whatever. You know it's gonna take 24 hours just to be able to get your result, just to be able to see it. Even though a lot of facilities doing everything they can to put everything online, but it's difficult. Now you have to log in to this site or that site, but to be able to get seen at a reasonable time, way
Mhm.
less below what you can the time you're gonna spend in the ER and still have your result in hand and walk out with your result and be able to do all of those things. I love it. This is like a one stop. You get
Yes.
everything you
That's
do.
what I love.
Yeah,
Yes.
you
And
can get.
that if it's great, and I'm saying because I'm
Mhm,
all about you being the healthiest you that you can actively be. I always talk about joy in the journey. I don't
mhm.
want you to be sick, but if you must, let's take care of it.
Yeah.
That, if you go to, urgent care and some of the other clinics, you're not getting ER doctors.
Hmm.
There is no physician in our facility that is not a board certified emergency room physician who's been doing critical care medicine in their careers, minimum of 5 years. And I'm an
Oh,
old girl. This
so
is
it
21 years.
so it's a requirement. So it's a requirement in order for a
Yes.
physician, they have to have that emergency room slash trauma experience to
Yes.
be able
Board
to work
certified.
to work in your facility. And on top of that, you required 5 years. They not just work there 1 year. You required
Yeah.
5 years experience.
Minimum of 5 years.
Minimum 5 years experience. Wow. And is that the same thing for your nurses too?
Nurses, minimum of 3 years emergency room experience.
Okay. All right. So okay, that's
Mhm.
that's good. That's good.
Yes.
Let me make sure. Okay, good, good, good. Yeah, so I want to make sure I got everybody questions because listen, we are live in a lot of spaces right now. Some places I don't even know because whenever we go live,
Oh,
people cross post or live, so they go to
I love
different
that.
channel. We are live on YouTube, two different YouTube channel at the same times. We are also on Facebook. There's a couple Facebook channel page that
Okay.
fails, but so I'm in multiple location right now. I'm trying to answer everybody questions. Some of the questions, if you're on the Ouvri Barrier, which is the Creole channel,
Yes.
you can put your questions and I can bring it to the screen. If you're on the Johnny E channel, at the same time, if you put your questions, I can bring it up to the screen. But in the other places we cross post because it's a cross post. So that's why I have to read those questions to you because I cannot bring those questions to the screen
Sure.
because I'm not directly streaming to them right now. Okay, so
Johnny,
let
I
me.
am so grateful for you doing this. I
No,
mean,
I'm grateful.
really.
I'm grateful you came in to give us this information. This information is valuable to us. We need to know.
Yeah.
Time. Time. Listen, time is important. You know,
Yes.
if I'm having, sometimes it's not even an, it could be what I classify as an urgency,
Hmm.
okay, or turns to be an emergency. So if I'm
Yes.
having those, I want to be able to go a place where I can get seen in less than 4 hours. I'm out of there. Okay,
We
if it's
got you.
yeah, if it's an urgency, I can get it taken care of, and then I know I'm out. At the same time, if it's turned out to be a major emergency, to be able to be to get admitted, let's say for God forbid I have to get admitted,
Hmm.
not to be able to get a direct admission from the facility
Absolutely.
straight to the hospital that my insurance cover or that I chose to go to, it's huge. It's huge.
You'd be,
And
I was going to
uh,
say, you would
yeah,
be in the right place
yeah.
because, I mean, if you think, right, some major, a basic, urinary infection.
Mhm.
However, what if it's a kidney stone? If it's a kidney stone and you're in urgent care, now you've got the urgent care fee and they're going to send you to the emergency room. Whereas we can diagnose your kidney stone, right there at our facility.
Yeah.
And if your pain's controlled, you get to go home. You don't
Yeah.
have to be admitted. So depending on, and we can set up an appointment with a
Equipment.
urologist directly from it. I love the model.
Yeah.
I love meeting the need in the space. Like what a gift to be able to offer that.
Thank you so much, Doc. Thank you so much. I mean, we need it. And again, I want to bring to the screen. I want to put the location one more time because I see some people is asking for the locations again. So let me bring it on the screen.
Sure.
Um, if you go to godwellemergency.com, you will find the location. There's a slot on the website who got the location. And with the location, you will find the phone number for each location.
Mhm.
So if, for example, you are in Largo and you wanted to know, hey, can I get seen for X, Y, and Z, or you have a questions whatsoever, the phone
Mhm.
number to reach them is right there on the website. So it's
Mhm.
very easy to find it. Same thing as the services and as the resources that they have available and questions, booking appointments. So all of that is on the website that you can view yourself. And you can actually click on the location and tell you exactly uh,
Mhm.
what's going on, and even have pictures of those who are servicing you. So,
I love
yeah,
it.
yeah, that's pretty good. So you get the chance to see what it looks like. Yeah, so you can get yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't even know that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's very good.
So I'd love to address the encompassing. We can anything that you would think that you might go to an emergency room for, because we're emergency room doctors, we've seen it at some point, collectively in all of our
Hmm.
years of experience combined, and we will get you to where you need to be. If we can stabilize and cure it, if you will, and get you home safely, we will. If you need hospitalization, then we will take you to your next step.
That's
And so
like
chest pain, right, all the
That's
things,
like
right?
concierge medicine, man. This is a
It
high this is a
is.
high level this is a high level taking care of you. So that's concierge medicine. I love that. So all right. So Doc, I don't see any more questions. So we're gonna close the section for the podcast. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. And I appreciate that you hanging out with us. For those of you who's in the Creole channel, I'll be with you as soon as possible because I know you guys are gonna kill me with a whole bunch of Creole questions. I'm coming. Just be patient for me. I'll be there. And Doc, I'm gonna give you the chance to. I don't know who you wanna say hello to. There's a few people that you probably know because they're coming from every direction right now. So
Um,
so
I'm
yes.
I'm just so grateful. Um, Nothing about the existence means anything without service. And so it is my everyday ultimate honor to be present for someone else. So thank you for being here, for asking your questions. Johnny, it is a blessing to know you and to be affiliated and for the opportunity to be here. I pray that it blessed somebody, that there was something useful. Um, we're we're open to serve and we're open to meet you all in your space. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Once again, guys, they open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday to Friday, and Saturday and Sunday they open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And most holidays they are open to service you. I want to
Yes.
emphasize really quick before we go. The minute you walk in the door, somebody will greet you at the door. It doesn't matter what language do you speak. They have interpreters available via video, or if you don't want the video portion, you want the audio portion, they have it available to communicate with you. Your
Yes.
waiting time to see a provider is drastically decreased. So
Hmm.
we're talking about minutes instead of hours. The
Hours and
minute they
hours.
bring you back, you get I know, right? The minute they bring you back, you get to immediately be attended by an emergency trained technician. You get to see an emergency physician. Your nursing staff also is emergency trained. If for some reason you can go home, they'll send you home. And for God forbid, if situation is worse, they can admit you to the hospital. If you
Mhm.
need a referral, they can give you a referral who you go see. Okay. If you happen not to have a primary care doctor and you have to follow up with your primary care
Gotcha.
doctor, they can put you in touch. And, and God knows they probably have a list of primary care doctors that they can
Yes.
get in touch with so you can get the help that you need. Now,
And they do it in your network.
and they do it
So
in your eggs.
it's
Oh, I
in
love
your
that.
network. Yes. So
I,
it's not, there's no alarm. It's in your network with your insurance if you're using insurance so that you are not getting somebody outside of the network that won't be covered. We make that appointment for you.
Yes. And I love it for because you guys are on our community. I love it that you guys are part of the community. The people
Yes.
you hired are from the community and servicing our family members and our friends. And at the same time, you make it affordable, okay, for us to be able to receive the care and minimize the delay that it will take for us to go
Absolutely.
from point A to point B. Once again, thank you so much, Doc. Thank you for being here. Have a great, great, great night. I'm sure you're
Thank
probably
you.
working tomorrow and you
I
still took
am.
the time. You still took the time. I'm taking all your
I'll,
time here,
I'll be
but
at Coe.
yeah. So exactly. So if you live in Ocoee, hey, and if you have an emergency, okay, okay, we want you to be healthy, of course. If you have an emergency, you can visit them at Okoye at the Okoye location from 9 to 7 p.m. And she'll be there. You'll say, hey, I saw you. And those of you who don't know, hey, Doc, you did interview with newspapers,
Yeah.
TV news. Listen, man, and you'd still take the time to come and see
Oh,
me.
this, oh,
I'm
this,
grateful. That's big time.
you, Ronnie, being here with you is uber important.
Thank you so much.
You
Thank you.
are a gift to our community. You are a gift to all of us. What you share to add value to everyone's life is powerful. And I am humbled to be here. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here, Doc. Thank you. If that's your first time on my channel, subscribe. Okay, I'm bringing you those information on on a weekly basis. And if you're one of the people who's watching me right now and you want to be part of this program or you have something you want to talk about, please, by all means, feel free coming in. Let me know, and we'll make the arrangement for you to come and let us know what you provide for the community. Thank you for supporting this channel. Thank you for being part of this community. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good night.